just step up if you know you got the nuts. On my 9mm, so you can keep up. Man, we getting tired of these niggas talking shit. So now you gonna win. Might get the 6. Nigga, just step up if you know you got the nuts. On my 9mm, so you can keep up. Man, we getting tired of these niggas talking shit. So now you gonna win. Might get the 6.
No bones to open this joint, man.
Yeah, what up? All the OGs up in here. Welcome back, OGs. Welcome back, OGs. 1 second here. Let me just lower it on my side. Folks, welcome to the News Underground. I am Abandoned Nihilism, a.k.a. The Harbinger. Coming at you with another daily headline segment. Might as well. Big props to Lenny, Woke Patriot, and Leon for getting their ass in here right off the bat. Big props. And we do have some UK news for Leon, so we'll go ahead and expedite that. Ready for the workday to be over. Ain't that the truth? All right, folks, we're going to be jumping into some U.S. news, just following up on yesterday. The State of the Union, I was incorrect yesterday. The State of the Union is actually tomorrow. It's not today. Don't worry. Ready to go. Live stream ready to go. I can't wait to hear what what this amazing president has to say, what this incredibly competent president has to say about the future of America. He's been fighting so hard against the fascists. He's been doing literally everything in his power to stop the fascists, except he's not. Except he's mourning Mitch McConnell leaving. You know what I mean? Oh, we worked together so well. Even with all of our problems and all of our trials and homie, he fucked you over. He fucked the country over. And he did it with a big smile on his face while he was grinding your fucking face into the damn dirt. Oh, we're still friends. We're still buddies. You look like a sucker doing that shit. Didn't they teach you not to be a doormat in high school? Wasn't that old school up by the bootstraps schooling? To, defend yourself kind of shit? Oh, yeah, well, I'm just a big punching bag for the fascist right, and they can totally fuck me over, and that's okay. So anyway, we're doing U.S. news. We're jumping into Ukraine news. We're going to be jumping into we got some UK news. We're going to do that right away, the UK news, because it's really fucking amazing. It's really unbelievable. We got some Haiti news. We got some China news. And whatever links. I got 2 to 3 hours, folks. I got an extra hour today. Let me know if the mic is a little too loud. I think it's a little too loud. I'm going to crank it down one notch here. But whatever links, if you want to throw some links in there, please feel free to. Headlines, we're going to try to keep it snappy. I'm going to try to have more, more. So I was thinking of a new segment, Attack from the Left, where I, do all my neoliberal criticism inside there. I have my fash update, what's up with the fascists. Maybe I should also have a section for when I'm attacking the left. So I think I might do that. You get the ship video I put in Discord? Yeah, we got a couple videos in Discord I need to get in the chat. So I'm going to do that while we're watching our first video. I got to show you this. This is amazing. There's a new movie. I know this is entertainment. This isn't Stupid Tuesday over here. Sorry. Let me change this real quick. This is they're doing a movie about Kafka. And I'm like, oh shit, we got to watch the trailer, dog. So let's go ahead and watch the trailer. Yeah, totally crazy. All right, amazing. Let's go ahead and watch it. But let's watch this trailer for Kafka real quick. I want to see what the hell this is about.
Dann ist da noch Kafka. Ist vielleicht der größte Schriftsteller der Welt.
Oh, drunter tun sie es nicht.
Ich kann mir gar nicht vorstellen, wie es sich anfühlt, Autor eines Buches zu sein.
Es ist furchtbar. Du wirst nie Schriftsteller, wenn du nicht schreibst. Ich schreibe ja. Schreib mehr, dann wird es nicht gut. Menschen werden das lesen.
Das hoffe ich.
Und sie werden sich fragen, wer ist dieser Kafka?
Sollen sie.
Herr Dr. Kafka, Ihr Vater.
Ich bin ganz schlecht mit ansehen, wie der Bursche frisst. Ich kann es nicht sehen.
Was für ein seid ihr das, Bichlal?
Gonna choose our
Schau,
human.
der Herr tötet sich.
Ich will ihm aber nicht mehr zuhören. Ich will ihm endlich nicht mehr zuhören müssen.
Ihre Verwandlung hat mich in Albträume hineingeweckt.
Gregor? Gregor?
Da hat er
Yeah, the
sich,
metamorphosis
mein
is
Herr
really
Sohn,
good.
zum Heiraten entschlossen. Weil sie die Röcke so gehoben hat, die widerliche Gans. Und so gehoben
Oh yeah,
hat.
okay. So Kafka's basically daddy issues. Okay, it's all making more sense. Wow. Okay. I didn't know Kafka had so many daddy issues. Well, I'm definitely going to have to watch that. That looks very intriguing. By the way, I want to give props to Ryan Celsius Sounds for this great visualization of a bus moving through Japan. Make sure you like and subscribe on that. Just want to give credit to some of this content I like to show at the beginning of the stream. And of course, big props to you, boy, Roland Jones, Christoph, Bunta Spark, with all your amazing tracks. Thank you so much. Hope you don't mind that I'm playing your amazing art at the start of my stream. Please let me know if you don't want to be associated, and I will There's no way to get a hold of me right now, and I'm fixing that. I actually just fixed that last night. I was actually working on the stream last night. I know. Late at night in the lab, working on changes. We're going to see some changes to the News Underground. Bigger, better, badder. You know it. Will you see the Cabrini movie? I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, homie. What's a Cabrini? All right, sorry to divulge here, but we were watching a movie trailer. Cabrini. What the hell is Showtime's? Italian immigrant is greeted by disease, crime, and impoverished children. She soon sets off on a daring mission to convince the mayor to secure housing. Oh, wow. Well, I probably won't go to the theater, but I'll definitely check it out on streaming or something. This looks really cool. It's so hard as a parent to find 90 minutes to sit down to watch anything. And it's like, you really want, for me, I like to watch a movie uninterrupted. I don't like to watch, unless it's crap, unless it's trash, then I'll pause and do other stuff and then pick it up later. But if it's like a good movie. All right, so let's get to it here. I promised we were going to expedite the UK stuff, and I wanted to get to this story. So let's go ahead and get to it right now. Look back, snow. But UK government announces further tax cuts. Really, guys? That's what the Tories are announcing? No shit. No shit. Welcome back, Chem Goblin. Yeah, Davey, it does look really good. I do agree. Looks interesting. If it's crap, I don't even continue. I love watching crap. Crap movies are amazing. Are you kidding me? They're amazing. I'll have twice as much fun watching a garbage movie, especially from the 70s. Oh, man. Nobody knew how to make exploitation trash like the 70s. God, it's good. So it's election year. They always do this in election year. So is it actual tax cuts on regular folks? Let's go ahead and find out here. Because, I don't know, tax cuts, is that really what people want? Really? I mean, if it's tax cuts for poor people and middle class people, then yes, that's exactly what they want. But when a right-wing government is cutting your taxes or making things, there's always a but. There's always an if. There's always a timeline. You know what I mean? It's never permanent. The George Bush did it with his stimulus. The Bush tax cuts, of course. I mean, they made the big corporation stuff permanent, but they let the stuff for the citizens lax and expire. So it's always with trepidation that I accept any gift from a right-wing conservative, especially a Tory, post-Brexit Tory.
Is this an election-winning budget, Chancellor?
After the classic doorstep departure shot, the Chancellor went back inside.
Chip. Sorry, I won't do it. Sorry,
emerged from the boss's door. The two have been wrestling over this budget as the economic numbers continued to tighten and the options were squeezed. But there was enough for this.
From April the 6th, employee national insurance will be cut by another 2p from 10% to 8%. When combined with the autumn reductions, it means 27 million employees will get an average tax cut of £900 a year.
The Prime Minister rushed out a campaign video explainer of his own.
Ultimately, I'd like to end the unfairness where people in work are paying tax twice on those earnings.
I say
Stick
dog
with me,
and
Rishi Sunak was saying, and the long-term goal could be to abolish national insurance altogether.
I'm such a Yankee, it's ridiculous.
Grabbed that as a battle cry to calm down backbenchers who wanted big income tax cuts. Maybe not the right thing to grab.
I would be cautious about that because there is an important contributory principle, and I think there are some very good reasons for maintaining that contributory principle. So I think reducing it, yes. Abolishing it altogether, I'd be a little bit more cautious.
He, like other chancellors, posed for pre-budget pictures hard at work. Tellingly, this year there was a presence at the Chancellor's shoulder. The Prime Minister co-authoring traps for Labour in an election year, including the theft of their planned abolition of non-dom tax status.
The government will abolish the current tax system for non-doms, get rid of the outdated concept of domicile,
Labour cheered the Tories for stealing their policy, but they now have to find another revenue raiser.
I aim to please all sides of the House.
That's funny.
My budget.
That's funny. You never see. Oh, you actually no. You kind of do see this in the United States, but it's the inverse. You see the neoliberals. We just saw it recently with the immigration bill pass. Basically a right-wing, it's a full-blown Heritage Fund sponsor. I mean, it might as well have been written by Heritage Fund. I mean, it's a checklist of right-wing goodies. And, it kind of forces the party into a strange position. Now, in America, of course, they refuse to do it. But here, the people in the UK actually get to benefit from positive things. But it's interesting to see that. But this is how politics should be working, right? That's fine. You want to steal an idea, do it sooner, do it before the other party wants to do it. Yeah, no, I'm cool with that. That's a great way to run government. I'm going to help the people. No, I'm going to help the people more, right? Isn't that what we want? So I like this. This is how competitive government should work.
Tory MPs sat in silence. Maybe they still believed what they'd long been told by their own leaders.
Yeah, but they're hypocrites.
Even though, it gives easy shots to opposition parties, I think it would be the wrong thing to do.
It would end up costing Britain money.
The Chancellor began the day with a lengthy run. Later in the Commons, he repeatedly emphasised he was lowering taxes. But the Office for Budget Responsibility report showed the pre-budget path of the tax take as a percentage of GDP, destined to go to historic levels. The Chancellor's brand new post-budget graph line shows it just a bit lower, still going up and going up to record levels.
Taxes clearly have still risen a lot.
So tax is a share of GDP. So this means the economy is not making money. The most of the money going into the government is coming directly from the people, when the government should be trying to make its own money. Hey, Leon, I'm sure Brexit had nothing to do with this, right?
Up to record levels.
How could it be?
Taxes clearly have still risen a lot, particularly as a fraction of national income. And for lower earners and much higher earners, taxes are still considerably higher. For companies and so on, they're higher. So this did cut taxes, but over the Parliament as a whole, clearly a tax-rising Parliament.
Yeah, I mean, the big picture about Britain, rather than about what's happening in Westminster, is completely unchanged from today. We're a country that is seeing taxes going up, not coming down, and a country that is struggling to grow, with incomes going into the next election the same level they were when we went into the last one in 2019.
Today, a new entry in this hall of infamy, the Chancellor, who breezes into this chamber in a recession and tells the working people of this country that everything's on track.
It's all good. And the neoliberals are doing the same fucking thing over here, right? They're not saying we can do better, we're going to make your life better, we know you're struggling. They say, put on a happy face, look at it this way, look at it differently. And you're like, okay, shut the fuck up, right? You're turning the volume down at that point, right? Like, I don't need to be told, I just need a different perspective on my shitty life, okay? I need prices to go down. I need wages to go up. That's what I want to hear. Not some flowery version of suck it up.
Crisis? What crisis? So we say to the Chancellor Prime Minister, it's time to break the habit of 14 years. Stop the dithering, stop the delay, stop the uncertainty, and confirm May the 2nd as the date of the next general election. Britain deserves better. And Labour are
Here's the news.
Did you catch any of Jeremy's budget? No, you're working too hard. Yes.
This afternoon, the Chancellor and the Prime Minister found their much-leaked budget hadn't reached these voters. Some Tory MPs grumbled the government had grabbed the wrong tax cut to bring back lost electoral support.
If I had had my way, I would not have gone for national insurance, I would have gone for reducing income tax.
My preference would have been a 2p cut off the basic rate of income tax.
Yeah, whatever.
And an
whatever
increase
label
in the
you
personal
want,
allowance,
Leon. I don't really care anymore.
A raising of the income tax thresholds.
They felt the scope for cutting taxes was just too tight for that.
Not
They want
very
to bring
liberal
back
to me,
the
if you
mantle
ask
of
me.
tax cutting, but their offer today was smaller than they would have liked, and polls suggest
The
they have
Democrats.
many votes to shift.
And Gary's with me now. So if it's a tax-cutting budget, but the burden's going up, who are the winners and losers?
Well, it's really important to remember the last fiscal event wasn't very long ago. Amongst the losers are the people who are dependent on the bits of the
Lenny.
public sector that have unprotected budgets.
They should have
because
to face
a lot
this
of
more
these
often.
numbers, like the numbers in the autumn statement, rest on some public spending projections, which are very, very tight. Now, the Treasury let it be known beforehand, who knows with what motive, that they might have to cut that and didn't, maybe to try and make it all seem a bit more comfortable. But the head of the OBR not so long ago said that these were extremely tight settlements, and it would be flattering to call them a work of fiction, because fiction gets written down. So those people are losers still, because nothing is. There's been no relaxation of those totals.
Jeez.
Pensioners are losers, often sort of lavished with gifts and love by Tory chancellors, get nothing out of this package. The main gainers seem to be employees on about 50,000 a year.
All right.
As for what all this means politically and in terms of an early election, as you were talking about...
So wait, Leon, will they lower the taxes during an election season, and then when they win, raise the taxes on these folks? Is that really what they do? Do they really do that?
A second ago, it
That's some
doesn't
scummy-ass
feel
shit,
like
dude.
a big bazooka moment. If the Chancellor had been able to go for income tax as well as national insurance, and as well as stealing Labour's policies, you might have thought that was in play. But in an interview this evening, the Chancellor
Leon,
has
Biden
said
is
the
100% a
working
neoliberal, dude.
assumption
I don't know
is
what you're
still that we
smoking.
have another fiscal event before an autumn
Reagan
election.
wasn't a
So
neoliberal.
you've got to expect that is probably where we're heading. One of the things that was weighing in the scales in terms of an early election was, could Rishi Sunak actually get there as leader of his party? Could Tory wars bring him down? I would say this has not done enough to calm down the people who are determined to bring him down and wanted mega tax cuts. Neither has it inflamed them. They lurk. They will continue to plot. And one of the questions will be whether this budget has any impact at all on the set of local elections we're heading for, the next big political milestone. And you've got to.
I see. So this is like a nothing, not exactly a nothing burger, but not a massive sweeping change, but it allows the Tories to basically run on, we lowered your taxes. If you're if you're our target demographic, kind of a rural, undereducated, blue collar fella or person, vote for the Tories. We're going to lower your taxes.
Wonder after the last 2p cut, it might not.
Thanks, Gary. Well, I've been speaking to the Conservative MP Bim Afalami, who's the Economic Secretary to the Treasury, and I put it to him that the tax burden is still going up to historic highs.
It's not tax raising because this is a tax cutting budget. And let me explain what that means in real numbers. So if you take the autumn statement and the spring budget this year, so those two together, we've cut national insurance by a third. To your average, for your average worker, that's £900.
But the tax burden's going up, isn't it?
Well, the tax burden overall,
yes,
as a result of the last 4 fiscal events since this Chancellor's been in place, has actually reduced by 0.6%, right? So we are doing everything we can. But the reason why the tax burden rose...
Since the last election, it's gone up, hasn't it? And it's still projected to still go up.
Since the last election, there are a couple of things that happened. One was the COVID pandemic.
Okay.
The other was
dog.
Putin's illegal war in Ukraine.
Save this man. He's drowning.
Over £400 billion on that.
Someone throw this man a life preserver.
The difference between us and the opposition is
we've
got a credible path
right
that we're already delivering on to bring taxes down.
But the truth is, the tax burden is going up, has gone up, and is still going up.
Yes, and we're bringing it down.
So you may be reducing some taxes, but overall they're going up.
No, but we are bringing it down, and there are specific people, different groups that are getting real benefit. Let me give you another group. So I talked about average work on national insurance.
If you earn about £35,000 a year,
yes,
the net result of fiscal drag and the national insurance cut is what? It's a few £100s, isn't it?
Right. Well, let me give you...
It's less than 500.
Yes, well, hold on, but that's still quite a lot of money to a lot of people, and I don't think we should sniff at that.
What if you earn 25,000?
This is torture.
Well, if you talk about, let me take about somebody on the national living wage.
25,000, you get nothing, do you?
Somebody on the national living wage, right?
You should probably just not talk.
Well, no, I don't.
At 35, it's about £500. At 25, it's nothing.
I don't know the precise numbers for every single income bracket. What I can tell you is that child benefit changes today mean that a couple, for example, on £60,000 and £35,000, not wealthy by any means, because of the changes of moving the child benefit threshold from £50,000 to £6,000, if you take into account their national insurance cuts, they'll be almost £5,000 better off.
Isn't it very cynical and easy to see through when you take two of Labour's plans, particularly the non-dom idea of scrapping non-dom status, which up until this budget you said was the wrong idea. Won't voters look at that and just go, you're just playing petty politics here?
Honestly, that isn't what happened.
You just changed your mind?
No, well, let me explain what happened.
You just changed your mind.
The policy on non-doms has been discussed in the Treasury for many months. We were concerned that the way Labour were planning to do it was going to be anti-competitive and would lead to a huge exodus of people to come to this country who we need. We're putting in place a system that will ensure that we, yes, get people to come here, but when they come here after 4 years to pay their fair share of tax, and critically, yes, it does raise money. We're not just doing it for ideological reasons. It does raise money. It raises about...
You said it was the wrong thing, and now you're doing it. But anyway, let's move on to spending plans. As we've just heard, there are massive spending cuts for unprotected departments as a result of your budget after 2025. Why won't you be honest with people about that?
There are not. And what we've committed to in cash terms is that 1% increase
overall
across public sector.
But you guaranteed more than that for some departments, and that means that others will have to have cuts.
Well, not necessarily, because in that period of time, then future parliaments will make their own decisions about exactly how to allocate the money. The important thing here is that we're increasing spending on our public services.
So you might change all of this, is what you mean?
Well, of course,
so you might cut the NHS.
No, things are always subject to change, as everybody watching this knows.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to work out what the result is.
There's no point me saying to you that nothing can ever change in politics over the next 5 years, right? That wouldn't be credible at all.
So why did the Chancellor call these permanent tax cuts? They're not permanent, are they?
They are permanent because we are committed.
but you just said everything changes.
No, Christian, let me be clear. What we've said is we've committed to some things, like the tax cuts we've said, we've absolutely committed to them. What I'm saying is the broader macroeconomic climate, of course, could potentially change in 5 years' time if you're talking about the spending allocation going to a particular department, right? So the point I'm trying to make to you is that in addition to ensuring rises in spending for the public services, we're also investing in improving the productivity. What I mean by productivity, ensuring we get more bobbies on the beat, making sure we get more teachers in our schools and more nurses in hospital.
Bim Afellamy, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Got nothing to do with politics.
Well, closely watching the budget was the Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves, whose job just became a bit harder if Labour wins the next election, as widely expected. I interviewed her a little while ago, and I began by asking her, with some of the Chancellor's budget looking not unlike Labour's ideas,
you're obsessed with
how is her
labels,
party going to pay for its plans now?
So it is a real utter humiliation for the government that today, in their final budget of this Parliament, they came for the non-dom policy, which I've been going on about for ages. If you make Britain your home,
I don't really see the value in such a debate. I get it. One should be accurate in the labels they use, and neoliberal is accurate enough to describe the current crop of Democrats. Certainly not fair to call them liberal. And it's, the current crop of conservatives, to call them conservatives, what, like William Buckley, like Ronald Reagan? I mean, if Ronald Reagan were to come back from the dead, he wouldn't recognize this current party. It's not really fair to call them conservatives. They were calling themselves neoconservatives for a little while, but it's not really quite fair to call them conservatives.
You should pay your taxes here. I'm glad today that the Chancellor finally came round to agree with that, but given that they've been decrying the policy for the last few years, it is a humiliation for them. Now, you're right to say that we're going to use that money to reduce hospital waiting lists, have an extra emergency dental appointments and free breakfast clubs at primary schools. We will now go away and make sure that we can find that money.
Starmer reminds me very much of a neoliberal.
There's not a magic money tree, but I will go through every pound of government expenditure and make sure we find that money. I will do that in an orderly way, and I'll do it in a...
Yeah, it's not fair to compare Starmer to the neoliberals in the United States. So, yeah, that label probably is inaccurate. Same thing with Justin Trudeau here in Canada. There's a lot of neoliberalism, right? There's a lot of corporatism. But to say that they're a neoliberal party on par with the Democrats in the United States is not accurate. Not accurate at all. Because I think the neoliberals in the United States reject socialism in the same way that a conservative would. They're in lockstep. There's a lot of Reaganism actually in the current neoliberal party in the United States. So I think that's fair to say, Leon, that Keir Starmer isn't certainly not a U.S. style neoliberal. It would have to be some kind of other definition, some UK style neoliberal. But whatever, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, some are predicting that Keir Starmer is going to flip it around and, surprise us with a bunch of progressivism. I don't think that's the case. I think the UK people are going to be quite surprised. I think you're all going to be very surprised when these corporate gains, the wins that the oligarchy have secured through the Tory party are not going to be reversed by Keir Starmer, but are actually going to be solidified. That was the pattern that we saw in the United States with Barack Obama, right? Barack Obama was supposed to reverse a lot of the Bush stuff. He was supposed to turn a lot of it around. It was unprecedented, and he slowly solidified everything. And then after 8 years, we were all left wondering, did anything change? No, in fact, things got a lot worse. I honestly, not to be cynical, but Keir Starmer is giving me those vibes. He seems very hesitant to promise anything. He seems very hesitant to promise anything, which makes me very worried. And I get it. He's reaching out to moderates or, reaching out to dissatisfied Tory voters. He's playing this electoral game. I get that. So there's certain things that he can't say, that he doesn't want to say, that he believes in. All right. But I don't know, man. It's the same bundle of hope. It's the same bundle of hope that Barack Obama was giving us, man. It was just like fill in the blank, right? Oh, I think black people deserve more rights. Oh, well, I mean, come on. He's going to do it. He didn't promise it. But he didn't do it.
So you'll have to think of another tax raising measure or a spending cut.
Well, we're going to go through. The government published today their latest forecast.
Yeah, hope. It's almost as ridiculous as Make America Great Again, right? A totally nebulous phrase referencing an unnamed decade, an unnamed time, right? Make America Great Again is very similar to the hope slogan, right? Because it's just fill in the blank, right, Jano? Right?
Costs and their spending trajectories. We'll go through every pound of money, but if we can identify waste or expenditure that we wouldn't make, we would use that for this priority, because cutting waiting lists is a national priority, it's a Labour priority, and we will find that money.
But he has set the trap for you, hasn't he? And he repeated it over and over again that Labour will put up taxes, and the truth is you'll have to.
Well, look, we have said that there will be some targeted tax increases. The tax loophole whereby private schools don't pay VAT and business rates, that will go. The tax loophole whereby private equity managers don't pay income tax on their bonuses, that will go.
Okay.
And similarly, we will have a proper windfall tax on the big profits that the energy
even more than he's announced today.
Yes, because we'd close the loopholes.
Windfall taxes,
there are some energy companies making big profits, but they don't pay any of the energy profits levy. So we would close that loophole as well. So there'll be some targeted tax increases to put an immediate injection of cash into public services, but then we have to grow the economy. And what the Conservatives have failed to do, our economy is now in recession, what the Conservatives have failed to do these last 14 years is to grow the economy. We have a comprehensive plan to do just that. And in the end, that's the only way to invest sustainably in our public services.
But why are you going along with both their tax cuts and their rules, which mean that after 2025 at the moment, some departments, the ones that aren't protected, are looking at massive cuts.
Well, of course, that's based on the government's forecast and their policies. We have a plan for growth that will lift those growth trajectories, which means that we will have more money. But I'm
really,
under no
Leon, that's so
2025.
scummy.
I mean, you're not going to grow the economy that quick.
I'm under no illusions, Christian, about the scale of the challenge that an incoming Labour government will inherit. It will be the worst inheritance of any government since the Second World War.
So there will be cuts, won't there, for some departments?
Well, look, we will set out those plans. At the moment,
you shouldn't have to cut anything. You should go after the bazillionaires and cut a little slice off and use that to pay the difference. I hate this idea that the only solution is to cut and reduce services. And now we're hearing it from the so-called left, whatever label you want to give them. But that's totally a fucking conservative idea. No, there's plenty of people with plenty of fucking money, and increasing their taxes a little bit isn't going to put them in the poorhouse by any means. Oh, but we can't. Oh, well, I go to tea with them. I'm friends with them. My daughter dated his son. Nonsense. That's where the corruption comes in, right? Where these policies are targeting. Why should we, the poor people, get our services cut when during COVID and afterwards the rich have been making out like bandits?
The spending goes up by 1% a year in real terms.
Average, but some departments are getting more than that, and that means that some will have to get less.
We will set that all out. We will do a spending review when we come into government, because, of course, the government haven't done a spending review. But I'm not under any illusions about the scale of the challenge. The challenge will be enormous.
We could be looking at an election in May.
I mean, bring it on. Bring it on.
You've only got a couple of weeks to come up with these ideas.
No, we'll do a spending, Christian. We'll do a spending review in government. This government haven't done a spending review for a number of years now. We will open the books and we will do that spending review.
So you'll go into an election saying to people, we don't know whether some departments are going to have cuts.
Well, look, at the moment, the spending trajectory hasn't changed today compared to where it was in November. There are real terms increases in government spending, but the government haven't said how that money is going to be allocated across departments. We'd have to do that in government. That's not something you can do from opposition. But we will inject money immediately in public
sector. That's, they don't want to speak specifically. Why don't they want to speak specifically? Because they're going to be cutting shit that you want, and they want you to vote for them. It's not because she doesn't have we're not in there, so we don't know, what we know. It's because the cuts they want to do are unpopular because they're going to be protecting the rich.
Services through closing those tax loopholes on private schools, on private equity, and the windfall tax on
but the only thing she mentions are the progressive sounding things that she plans on doing, but she stays quite mum on some of these other things that it's very, very scummy ass shit. That is a untransparent way to speak about what your plans are.
Big energy companies, that will put money straight away into our public services, but then we have to grow the economy because there is no shortcut to more money. We have to grow the economy.
Whatever they produce is going to be better than what the Tories
but do you think this is really honest
continue to do?
Isn't there there's a sort of a dance that goes on around now where you say, in order to look credible, I will stick to Tory spending envelopes.
Okay, Leon.
But nobody believes that if the Tories were to be re-elected, they would stick to those numbers. Because they involve cuts. And so, your plan to say I'll stick to those numbers aren't any more credible.
No, but Christian, I'm saying there will be an immediate injection of cash into public services because we will close those tax loopholes that we have identified, and that will mean for our schools and hospitals,
I like to hear that.
There will be more money.
Rachel Reeves, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I like to hear that. Loopholes, tax loopholes, money going right back into the services.
Into all of those budget numbers. Here in Leeds, our economics correspondent, Helia Ebrahimi.
All right. And okay, now we're getting really into the weeds. And unfortunately, I have to get to other stories. I'm sorry, Leon. I know. All my buddies from the UK now putting on their brass knuckles. Want to give me a Glasgow smile? Is that what you want to do? Too bad. We got to move on, folks. But this was, no, of course. Thank you for your input there. It's very useful. Give me your perspective. Leon, by the way, is a political activist in the UK. So he definitely follows this stuff very closely. So thanks again, Leon. Oh, man, that guy looks like big time. That guy looks. He's got trouble literally tattooed on his forehead. Yeah. I got motherfucking weirdos and walking by my house. All right, I got to get over it. I'm not the policeman of the neighborhood here. All right, so moving on to our U.S. coverage, we're gonna do just a follow up of last night. No, I was doing such a terrible job. It was so boring. It was so terrible, so predictable. But there are a little bits. Quit profiling. Oh, okay, dude. All right, okay. He was a white guy, by the way. Nikki Haley quits. Uncommitted makes waves, and Adam Schiff plays California voters. That's very interesting. Yeah, because Adam Schiff basically destroyed the progressive, Katie Porter. She's gone. How tall? He was 6'9", sir. He was wearing all black, and his tattoos were frightening. He had a cell phone. I heard the word drugs. He was talking on his cell phone. I heard drugs. But no, let's just do a little follow up to yesterday, just to get some of the details that I was too bored to catch.
And especially, Nikki Haley, I'm just going to say this. She's probably menopausal. We don't need that.
Well. Last night was Super Tuesday with 16 states voting in Republican and Democratic primaries, and I have 3 big takeaways on the night that I'm going to break down. Nikki Haley, the uncommitted vote, and California. Starting first here with Nikki Haley, who went into last night not looking too good, being the only candidate opposing Trump currently. Trump sitting at 77.5% in national primary polling, and Nikki Haley sitting down at 15.9%. And the polls were correct. She lost terribly. So she ended her campaign this morning, writing on Twitter, I end my campaign with the same words I began it from the book of Joshua. I direct them to all Americans, but especially
and bullshit. Haley said, I would love the reaction from a woman in the crowd. And
I wouldn't vote for a woman, and especially, Nikki Haley, I'm just going to say this. She's probably menopausal. We don't need that.
Hey.
Trash people. Sometimes people could just be trash. It's okay. She's what? You think that's she's only one margarita in and she's already sounding like this, man. Just trash. It's okay. You could be trash. It's fine. We just got to outvote you, It's fine. You can live in a democracy and enjoy all the luxuries and liberties provided while you fight against them. It would work out just fine if lefties would just quit the shit and get to the fucking Pokemon polls, okay? Oh, but I got a million excuses. Yeah, okay. Well, you're going to have this woman's going to run your fucking life. Oh, well, Bubba, it's someone else's fault. No, bitch, it was the left movement's fault. This is our game to lose, and we're losing it.
Nikki Haley, I'm just going to say this. She's probably menopausal. We don't need that.
Hey.
A woman's not going to be a good president. She don't have no balls to scratch. She's just going to scratch her head. All a woman's good for in my book is having babies and taking care of the house.
Well.
Yes.
Well. Yes, Trash. The old I'm only voting because of the balls vote. Not really the warm reception that I would think Nikki Haley would want, but this is the Republican voter. What did you expect? These are Trump voters.
This is who they are.
The cult has taken over. It is done. Now, Nikki,
there's not enough Twitter. There's not enough social media censorship that's going to make them go away. That's this is this idea that things will just eventually get better. No, we need to confront them. Okay, and before the guns get out, we should confront them democratically, before shit gets really real. They're getting away with it because they're uncontested. No one wants to be there. It's a miserable process, and it's made intentionally more miserable to get you away from it.
Haley has not yet endorsed Trump. AP writing here, Haley didn't endorse the former president in a speech in Charleston, South Carolina. Instead, she challenged him to win the support of the moderate Republicans and independent voters who supported her. quote, "It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party." And
so I think this is interesting. She's playing coy a little bit. I think she's playing coy so that Donald Trump maybe. I'm still thinking she's going to support Donald Trump. But this is interesting. Joe Biden put out a statement as well, courting Haley voters. I don't know if he's going to get into it. Yeah, I guess he's going to get into some of these
beyond
numbers.
It, who did not support him, and I hope he does that.
But I think she's going to support
How many more
Trump.
years of Donald Trump do you have to see to understand he does not care? He will not do that. I can guarantee you he is not going to moderate his voice in any way. He is not going to shift his stance on anything. He will just do what is good for Donald Trump and hope that works out for him. Going on to say, at its best, politics is about bringing people into your cause, not turning them away. And our conservative cause badly needs more people. Trump is going to Trump. This idea that I hope Trump reaches out to those moderate Republicans. He's not going to. You know why?
He's going to cackle.
First, it's not in his nature. But secondly, they're going to vote for him anyways.
Bend the knee.
Look at 2016.
Yeah, they'll vote for
Hillary
him.
Clinton. And this is going to be a theme that we're going to come back to. Hillary Clinton in 2016, going after those moderate Republicans. They're really going to not vote for Trump, and they're going to vote for her instead. Did not work out. They voted for Trump.
Yeah.
Democrats win when they get young voters out to vote, when they get people who don't normally vote out to vote, when they get disillusioned people out to vote. That's when Democrats win. Republicans are always going to have Republican voters. Republican voters are not going to vote for Republican light over the actual thing.
They never do.
So that is the lesson
here.
They
never do. They never do.
Going on, I mean, at least Nikki Haley has Vermont. She won Vermont over Donald Trump. There you go.
Lenny.
So if something happens...
So, yes, if the democracy holds, if they are able to get into a position of power to truly affect and make critical changes to democracy, then no, right? But if democracy holds, the right wing understand this, that they see their own oblivion. We've talked about this many times. But they know very well they're a very unpopular party. They know that the only way for them to stay into power is to change how power changes. You know, how power changes hands and how it democratically moves from one party to the other. They need to stop that. Their enemy has become democracy. I think someone said, someone famously said that if the conservatives, there's a phrase. I'll find it. I'll look it up. I don't want to butcher it.
Happens to Trump.
See if I can
his
find
health. Something, I guess that's what she's betting on, and hoping those delegates will then coalesce around her, which I don't even think would happen if that crazy scenario even occurred. But moving on, let's get to the uncommitted vote. So this was another big winner last night. I covered last week when Michigan voted 101,000 people voted uncommitted in the Michigan primary, sending a real message to Joe Biden that he is too aligned with the far right-wing Israeli government. That's why there's this.
Okay, so I'm embarrassed. This might be a David Frum quote. My God, this is embarrassing. But the phrase that I was thinking of, if conservatives become convinced that they cannot win democratically, they will not abandon conservatism. They will reject democracy. And that is exactly what we're seeing. That is exactly what we're seeing. It is, they see democracy now as a gatekeeper to their continued existence, and they're attacking it. That is exactly what Project 2025 is.
Campaign around, in case you didn't know, didn't watch last week's video, there's a campaign around the uncommitted vote for Democratic voters to vote for that in these primaries, to send a message to Biden that he is too closely aligned with the far right-wing Israeli government as they are committing a genocide.
Could it be any worse than Biden?
And last night, to the surprise of many, uncommitted did arguably better than even in Michigan. So in Minnesota in particular here, with 45,000 voters, or almost 46,000 voters, and 18.9% of the vote, which is higher than the percentage from Michigan. Now, this is how close Minnesota was.
This guy's acting
in 2016.
Real fishy, dude.
Hillary Clinton winning Minnesota by 44,500 votes. Again, going back here, the margin is larger here. More uncommitted voters than the difference in 2016. Joe Biden, we're going to get to the reaction, if there is one at all, to this. But this is something that the Biden campaign has to be concerned about. The White House has to be concerned about. They should maybe attempt here to try and align themselves with, I don't know, the UN, human rights. But that's going to be a constant battle.
No.
Now, these are other results from last night in the uncommitted.
This is so boring. Okay, I can't take any more of these fucking numbers. Whatever. Let's get some video here.
They can't ignore. I will get to if they are or how they are reacting to it. But this is Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
Votes right now, 20% of the vote going to uncommitted, and we've seen that already in this primary in Michigan. What message are voters in your state trying to send to President Biden, and what do you want to see President Biden do in response?
Jack and shit.
Yeah, look, they're engaged. We're really proud in Minnesota. Civic responsibility. We have some of the highest voter turnouts. These are voters.
I'm sorry. Is this guy AI? Is this guy real?
That are deeply concerned, as we all are. The situation in Gaza is intolerable. And I think trying to find a solution, a lasting two-state solution, certainly the president's move towards humanitarian aid and asking us to get to a ceasefire, that's what they're asking to be heard, and that's what they should be doing. We've gone through this before, and we know that now we make sure we've got 8 months. We start bringing these folks back in. We listen to what they're saying. That's a healthy thing that's happening here. But I would note
I don't disagree, Ribbons.
That the former president lost twice as many votes here in Minnesota to Nikki Haley. And I've seen some of these exit polls out of North Carolina and others. 80% of folks said they're not voting for him who voted for Nikki Haley. We'll get these folks back. I think it's take them seriously. Their message is clear that they think this is an intolerable situation and that we can do more. And I think the president's hearing that.
The governor here recognizing that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. It's a similar statement that was released by the Biden campaign here. New York Times, right in the Biden campaign, which has tried to downplay the significance of the uncommitted efforts, issued a statement early Wednesday about the Minnesota results. Quote, the president believes making your voice heard and participating in our democracy is fundamental to who we are as Americans, said Lauren Hitt, a campaign spokeswoman.
You're the problem.
Quote, he shares the goal for an end to the violence and a just, lasting peace in the Middle East. He's working tirelessly to that end. So
you just got to let the adults in the room handle the situation, okay, honey? Okay? We know what we're doing.
Nikki Haley voters, I'm sure Nikki Haley dropping out. Now they're going to back Joe Biden.
What made you switch from Trump to Nikki Haley?
The man is a lunatic, and I think he's terrible for the country.
What are you thinking about when you say that?
Just that he lies, he cheats, he's bankrupted millions of businesses and people, and I don't see anything good about him.
Let me ask, if Donald Trump is the nominee in November, do you support Joe Biden over Donald Trump?
No.
Incredible.
And he was what he was showing earlier was this statement by the Joe Biden administration talking about, Nikki Haley voters should come to the Democratic Party. Statement for President Biden on Nikki Haley withdrawing. We're the party you can come to. Basically the fucking Hillary Clinton strategy. And then here you go. I chose Nikki Haley because he's a psychopath and he's a criminal, and I don't, I hate his guts. Okay, so if he's the nominee, who are you going to choose? I'm definitely going to vote Trump over Biden because he's clearly better than Biden.
Incredible. This woman thinks Donald Trump is a lunatic, which he is. Thinks he's terrible for the country, which he is.
Yeah.
She still won't commit to voting for Joe Biden.
Yeah. She might
this
be
is the
part
Republican
of that group
voter
that sits home.
Were you alive for 2016?
So it's not about it's the fact that Joe Biden thinks that this is that this is viable. I mean, you sure put the statement out. Put the statement out anyway, whatever. You'll snag a couple of them, whatever. But this is very troubling. This is very troubling that that the neoliberals think that this is, I don't know. Maybe they don't, maybe it's like I said, it's just, it's there, it's on the table, throw it out there. Maybe we'll snag a few of them. It's just a statement. It's just literally a statement. But we see this. This is part of a larger pattern with these Democrats, which is, this Clintonian strategy of run to the right, run to the right, run to the right. All right, so moving on to our next here. Presidential historian John Mickham on 2024 election. This is like 1860. This is probably novel and interesting, and this is, I don't know, King Charles Barkley's TV show. Oh my God, what an embarrassment. We're not watching this garbage. I thought maybe it'd be some kind of novel. This looks like trash on a whole other level. I'm cool, dog. No offense to Charles Barkley. Do we need more analysis on Nikki Haley? Why she is not endorsing Donald Trump? Do we care? I mean, like I said, throw your guesses in the chat. I think she's playing games. And I think ultimately she's going to kiss the ring, but she's playing games right now. She's got a little bit of leverage. She doesn't want Donald to trash her. And she kind of got her wish a little bit. Donald didn't even mention her in his victory speech, right? So this might have been an agreement with her and Donald being like, hey, don't trash me. Let me come back in. When I come back into the, when I'm done running, don't smear me, and I'm going to play a little game, but ultimately I will endorse you, but this is how I'm going to do it. He mentioned her on Truth Social. Okay, well that's interesting then. All right. But I think ultimately, that's what she's doing. She's playing games with with whatever leverage that she has with Trump, so that he can, that when she comes back in, I don't think she thinks she's going to get VP or cabinet position or anything, but I think she just wants to keep her political career, right? Because you go up against the king, you best not miss. And she went up directly against Trump. Well, she's on the short list of rhinos that need to be Romneyed, right? So I think if she wants to keep her political career, she'll kiss the ring. And I think she's a conservative Republican, so that means that she's a coward. So I think ultimately that's what we're going to see. This idea that she's going to take some kind of neoliberal shift is a little ridiculous to me, but I don't know. I'm sure this 5-minute DW clip goes into it better, but I just can't. I just refuse to fucking care. The man corporate America is most afraid of. This man seems interesting. I think I'm going to save this one for Saturday, though. This doesn't really seem like headline. This is really more supplemental information, but apparently there's this lawyer, Department of Justice lawyer, is Department of Justice stopped JetBlue and Spirit from merging. Now they're coming for Apple, Google, and Ticketmaster. So this is the DOJ's antitrust division, head of the DOJ's antitrust division. So I think we'll save that for Saturday. Let's go ahead and move on over into our Ukraine headline news. Big news over here. Zelensky's convoy was recently hit. Not hit, thank goodness, but it was almost hit. And interestingly, there was a delegation from Greece with him. Any news that I can fab to today? Maxine is going to be released pretty soon. The conclusion to the X-Pearl trilogy. These great movies with Mia Goth. You can probably masturbate to those horror movies if you're a sick person. But I assume you are. You're on the internet talking about masturbating, so I assume you're a pervert. Welcome back, Land Home Lizzie Lizard's Lounge. Welcome back, Lizard's Lounge. So I tried to find a different. I don't really like the Enforcer too much. He's entertaining, which is really good, and he's very popular. That's very fine. He just doesn't seem very anti-war. You know what I mean? He seems pretty pro-war, but what can you do? This is a moral conflict. It's not like he's cheering on the IDF. At least I hope he's not cheering on the IDF. Anyway, not my style. Other people like him, but he's the only one that I saw with a video on this. So let's go ahead and follow up, and then I also have a video of Zelensky himself and his statements once he made it safe over there. This was a statement that he made 5 hours ago, so we're going to get to that real quick. But let's go ahead and get this follow up here from your boy, the Enforcer. Make sure you like and subscribe, folks. If you're into this style, I'll put the link in the chat, and you can like and subscribe if you want. he comes up in my algorithm whether I like and subscribe or not, because he knows what he's doing. I have no fucking ideas.
All right, good evening, folks. It's Enforcer Matt, and welcome back to another Short War video. And today we have very big news coming out of the Odessa region of Ukraine that the Russians lobbed an Iskander missile within 150 meters of President Zelensky's convoy, which was carrying the Greek Prime Minister as well. And that's
really troubling to me that even the Russians knew that he was in a convoy and moving. That is very, very frightening. That's telling me that information is starting to leak out of the Zelensky, like maybe there's more divide and conquer tactics being used.
A suspected assassination attempt there. And that missile did cause damage within the city. And we're going to get into that in just a moment. So let's go ahead and jump right into our first article of the day, which is from Flash News Ukraine. It says, Russia launches a missile strike near Volodymyr Zelensky's motorcade in Odessa during the Greek Prime Minister's visit to the city, reports Protothemia. And according to the publication, none of the Greek delegation was injured, and Protothemia does not say anything about the Ukrainian delegation.
So it seems like it was an intentional
both
warning
leaders
shot.
will make a joint statement,
just to
which
tell
means
you, just to let you know, we know you're here.
And
we
in
could
the
hit
morning,
you if we
information
wanted to.
about Zelensky's motorcade in Odessa was actively published, and a wave of fake news was spread in the Russian media, alleging that the president had died. So this is a big deal indeed, because this indicates that not only are the Russians trying to kill Zelensky, but in the process, they don't care if there's collateral damage as well, because they could have taken out the Greek Prime Minister
I don't
also,
agree with that. What are you talking about?
an
How do you fucking know that, man? You're saying that with such certainty, Enforcer. They missed by a lot. They weren't that close. 150 kilometers. Is that what he said? That's a warning.
International incident beyond the border.
That's not an attempt to kill anybody from Greece.
Of Ukraine.
150
so
meters.
That indicates the Russians are getting quite unhinged indeed to even attempt that.
150
and
meters.
Just a while back, we saw them chase down a German foreign minister with a drone. And even though they didn't launch an attack on the German foreign minister's convoy,
it's
they did nonetheless track it down and follow it, which was also quite an escalation as well when it comes to foreign relations. But in this instance, I can assure you all that Zelensky and the Greek Prime Minister are okay. They were not injured in the attack, but unfortunately, there were civilians in the area which did take some damage from that strike. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right in.
But Putin did manage to kill some civilians. Oh, great. Awesome.
To our next article here, which is from Slava on Twitter,
100
and
miles?
we actually have a video of the attack
150
itself.
kilometer would
so
be
let's go ahead and take a look
100
at this video and see what we have here. So here we go.
The attack, Chem Goblin. That's a good point as well. They'll just throw shots at any moving convoy, and they're not exactly competent all the time in their targeting.
Της Ουκρανίας στον Βολοντίμιρ Ζελένσκι σήμερα λοιπόν και οι πληροφορίες είναι πριν από λίγο που έχουμε λάβει ότι δημιώθηκε έκρηξη πολύ κοντά στην ελληνική αποστολή και απόσταση περίπου 150 μέτρων και φυσικά και κοντά και στην αυτοκινητοποίηση της Προεδρίας της Ουκρανίας.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. That's kind of 150 meters. Yeah, all right. That, I don't know. It feels like if they were certain that Zelensky was in there, it'd be a little bit bigger than just one little missile, right? Maybe it's possible that they saw that it was like a group of important looking cars. It was a convoy of some sort, but they had no idea who was actually in there, and they just threw shots at it anyway.
Missiles and any further Russian attacks, but certainly quite a big incident indeed, and it was caught on camera at least partially. However, we did not get to see the exact explosion, but it was reported to be, like I said, within 150 meters or so. But with that, we're moving on to our next article here, which is from Anton Gerashenko. And we can see that Zelensky commented on the missile attack on Odessa during his meeting with the Prime Minister of Greece. And according to the president, as a result of the strike, there are dead and injured. And like I said, it was a reported Iskander missile system which carried out the strike, falling within a...
Woke Patriot with your goddamn Hamas joke. Put it away, man. It's starting to stink.
150 meters of Zelensky's convoy. So very big news indeed, and sort of a recap of what we already know. Yeah. And we can see here that Zelensky did comment on the unfortunate deaths which occurred from that Russian attack in the city. But moving on to our next post here, we have one from Flash News Ukraine again, and we do have some positive news that came out of that entire situation between the meeting between Zelensky and also the Prime Minister of Greece. It says here in the Post that Greece and Ukraine have started preparing a bilateral agreement on security guarantees, and this was announced by Zelensky himself during a press conference. And Zelensky says that he hopes the teams between Greece and Ukraine will soon prepare the agreement for signing, and we have to fix it in the level of cooperation and support already achieved this year, as well as for the next 10 years. And it is a long-term security cooperation that gives the best results.
No, I mean, so that, that really is encouraging. They didn't let Russia, if it was intentional or not, or whatever the situation, they didn't let Russia intimidate them from finishing this meeting or making the agreement. If anything, it sounds like the agreement happened. It's like, look, it just cements why it's so important, that Russia is, unhinged in certain places. And I don't feel comfortable saying Russia is a delusional actor or an actor that is going to, work against their own self-interests, like drop a nuke or something. With that said, though, what would happen? What would happen if Russia were to kill somebody, a delegate from Greece? What would anyone start a war against Russia? They know that. No one's going to start a war. So there's certain things that they can get away with, and they know it. And they do it. They poison folks. They do all kinds of crazy stuff. And it makes sense for alliances to work together to act as a bulwark against Russia's bullying. I mean, what better word for it? It's bullying, right? On a global scale. What's this one about?
Goes to
got a little follow-up here from the Enforcer about the Polish farmers. I'm glad he's covering this. Chem Goblin's been following this very closely.
On Twitter. And we can see that the protests in Poland with the Polish farmers are growing quite large. Wow. And there's a large protest of farmers today that's taking place in Warsaw, and approximately 150,000 people are expected to participate. And previously, the farmers said they wanted to enter the city on tractors, but authorities and the court banned such entry, fearing inconvenience and damage to the road surface.
No kidding.
However, they say farmers plan in principle to enter with tractors, and since the morning, they've been trying to drive tractors onto the roads leading to Warsaw, but the police are currently preventing that. So we're getting reports from all around Poland that these protests are getting a little bit more extreme, and they're getting much larger indeed. So we're hearing of many reports of the police having to bring out riot gear to maintain some order in these cities, including Warsaw. And we can see here the Polish farmers are quite upset, and that they are not letting this issue go. And it seems like there might be some anti-Ukraine sentiments popping up in the country.
Yeah, that's the real question. How much of this is being astroturfed? Because there's been some actionable movement from the government to appease these farmers, and of course, basically saying, okay, we're not gonna buy Ukrainian grain. We're just gonna allow Ukrainian grain to travel through Poland, and it's going to be sold elsewhere. So why isn't this problem solved, right? So we went over the timeline. Chem Goblin gave us some great links that kind of went over the timeline, and it was okay. The legitimate grievance. The farmers did a protest. The government responded, made a deal. Like I said, they're allowing the grain to pass through instead of selling it. The problem seemed to dissipate, but then there was this. It came back, and it came back with anti-Ukrainian sentiment. And there does seem to be some kind of connection to, maybe it's a Russian-funded astroturfing.
Country that we hadn't seen previously until this grain issue has gotten out of control. So a little bit unnerving when it comes to the relationship between Poland and Ukraine, but hopefully they can get that smoothed over, because I'm still holding out hope on that front. But with that, let's go ahead and move on to our next post here. And you all might remember that back on February 14th, the Russian landing ship.
Oh, is this that video you put there in the chat there, Davey? Let's go ahead and bust this out. Here we go. Yeah, this is Davey's link. Let's go ahead and get the full screen one here. Thank you, Enforcer, once again. Let's go ahead and get this Davey link. Thank you, Davey, for taking the time to put this in the chat. Spectacular footage from the Russian point of view regarding the sinking of the Cesar Kuniakov 3 weeks ago emerged. See repost. The Magura V5 USVs attacked the Russian warships like sharks, The footage ends with the second explosion. Thank you for following Hot Dog JPEG. Thank you for following. No sound, unfortunately. Well, we can fix that. All kinds of sounds here. Yeah, no sound though, huh? Interesting. So here we are. We're inside the. So we're in. This is inside the boat that is being hit with drones. Oh my God! Yeah, you can see him coming. Oh, they're shooting at him. Oh, that is so crazy. They're desperately shooting. You don't see this from the boat's angle. Like you see the splashes, but you don't really see the searchlights and the, you know, because it's like the infrared, like, you know, night vision footage. Oh, they are like sharks. This is their defense, dude. This is their defense. AK-47s. This is a battleship. This is a multi-million ruble battleship. Supposedly supposed to be able to, you know, go toe-to-toe with some of America's. Damn! Oh, they can't hit shit. How do you miss? Oh, you can see the bullets ricocheting off the water. Shotguns are coming back, by the way, used for downing drones. That makes a little bit more sense. Birdshot, right? Yeah, you don't want to shoot a rifle bullet. Damn, dude, they can't stop it. Oh, those tracers just bouncing off the water. Oh no, they get some of them once in a while. Wow, you can see those tracers bouncing right off the water. That is nuts. Stormtrooper aim. I mean, it's got to be really hard to hit, I guess. I guess it's armored as well. It should be, right? Oh no! Nope. Didn't get that one. Oh. Oh, fuck. Wow. And it's just total chaos because they're hit, dude. So there's like whack, 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 whack. They're starting to take in water, right? They're running. They're wearing bulletproof vests, homie. You should be wearing motherfucking life preservers. And here comes another one. Boys. We got another one coming. Oh! You can't do shit, dude. Whoa! They're firing. They got no other recourse. They're firing AK-47. They have what? 150 millimeter fucking cannons. You know, they can launch all kinds of, you know, ground-to-air missiles and radar dishes and just every toy you can think of from 30, 40 years ago. Wow. The desperation. That is what's blowing me away. The desperation. Yeah, drone appeared to be immune to small. I mean, look how close it is. You feel like, yeah, bop, 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 bop. Get it, right there. It's a boat, dude. Bop, 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 bop. Get it. Not all those shots have to be missing, dude. I mean, remember, not every bullet is a tracer bullet. It's probably like a tracer every 5th round. I want to see this when he goes to the other side and it's just a fucking shower. It's just a shower, dude. I want to see that again. Yeah, so it's after this part right here. So yeah, remember the tracer, it's not like pew pew pew. It's a bop 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 bop, and then every like 5th or 10th one is like a tracer round. So the whole thing is just showered with bullets. The whole area is just showered with bullets. Look at this. And it still got through, dude. It still got through. Social media can make war so accessible and entertaining. Yeah, no, it blows my mind even now. It really does. We used to never get this stuff until, you know, months later, if ever, and never in this fidelity, never this high res. The purpose of the tracer rounds allows you to direct your shot. You can see where your bullets are going, right? So you can kind of get a good idea of, you know, where you're shooting and where you're leading. I mean, we're talking thousands of rounds, guys. We're talking thousands of rounds, incapable of stopping. They're just desperate. Like they run out, and boom, there it is. Gets right to the side of the boat and ignites. Knocks. I don't know if it knocks the guy down or not. Just enough, you know, the ringing is still ringing in your ear. You don't even have time to reload, and the second one is coming in. Yeah, we watched the drone POV yesterday. Yeah. Wow, this perspective is bananas. Dude, if you're Russia, what are you doing putting this fucking footage out? This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. You're basically showing an entire fully crewed battleship or whatever, what Corvette, whatever the hell this is completely incapable of stopping robots from fucking your shit up. Why are you putting this out, man? You know? You just like, you got your thumb in your mouth walking around with your pants down. You're like, that footage has got to go up. This was the landing ship. Oh, okay. Wow. So we do this footage, stuff like this is always so tacky. It's always so tasteless. Look at this. What are they vapor waving the fucking footage? So here it is from the drone perspective. You know, and you don't see the tracers, like the camera doesn't do a good job of, like, but it's being showered, it's being peppered right now with all kinds of bullets. Maybe not right specifically. It's hard to tell, like, because you can only tell with the splashes. Yeah, you can see in this from the second one hit, you can see the hole. You can see it's all glowing. Yeah, so this is okay, so this is the first one. Yeah. This is kind of cut up. This is cut up in a weird way. Let's see if we can get a close up of the hole. Right. Okay, I don't think this is a hole yet. Okay. Yeah. Oh, this is the one doing the circle. Is this the one that we saw? God, it's hard to tell. I'm gonna fucking puke here, dude. I can't watch this, man. See if we can get one with the hole. Nah, it's hard to tell. Here's what the ship looked like. Oh no. Oh no. Project 22-160 patrol ship. I don't know what that means, hot dog. Wow, look at that. Looks expensive. Look at all that fancy crap. Big old radar dish. How many people you think to crew it? 50 people? Big O gun here. They got a big O gun. Another gun right here. Gun back here. They got a gun over here. Couldn't do jack shit against a robot. Yikes. All right, so there's that boat footage. Thank you once again to the Enforcer. Thank you for letting me show your video there.
Most recent Project 20.
So this is, I've never seen this person here engineer react. It's only a minute long. I thought maybe we could watch this and see what's going on with this.
With the most recent Project 22-160 patrol ship gotten sunk, it was attacked by Ukraine's naval kamikaze drones at Crimea. While this has happened numerous times with different naval assets, Russia still struggles to find any effective protection against this threat, with Ukraine's weapon system being a fairly slow-moving surface vessel. The threat on paper should be fairly easily handled, but seen with multiple attacks, Russian side is in full panic as they try to hit it with machine guns and send helicopters after. with Russia's latest defensive tactics is to try and outspeed the drones.
To outrun it?
In a quite comical video showing a large so-called modern and top-of-the-line ship being chased by a small naval drone. This comical tactic did not seem to help either, as we all know what happened, showing Russia's struggle to keep their Black Sea fleet, leaving one less for tomorrow. That's all I had for this video. Please like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Oh, wow. Wow, dude. Wow. It kind of reminds me of, you know, the tanks running away from the drones, you know, high in the sky. Wow. Okay, so I actually did have this video queued up, Davey. That's funny, but no, we already went through this whole thing here. If you want to see a better recap from the Daily Mail, we got the link right here, but we don't need to show that. Thank you everybody who's in the chat. Thank you everybody who's watching, by the way. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. I wanted to, you know, this is just a statement put out by Zelensky. It's only two minutes long. I thought, you know, we haven't shown a statement from Zelensky in a minute. Let's go ahead and see what he has to say here. The big dog himself.
Дорогі українці, українки, сьогодні в Одесі зустріч з прем'єр-міністром Греції разом вшанували пам'ять загиблих від удару російського шахеда 2 березня. Діти, дорослі. Цими днями відбулись церемонії прощання. Вічна пам'ять усім жертвам російського терору. Головним питанням на перемовинах з прем'єр-міністром Греції була, звичайно, наша оборона, наші можливості в активних діях та у захисті ППО. Безумовний пріоритет, як і в перемовинах з іншими партнерами. Систем ППО та можливості виробляти зброю для захисту у світі достатньо. Зброя потрібна тут, щоб рятувала життя людей. Рішення потрібні зараз, не колись, а для людей, які щодня і щоночі витримують терористичні атаки. Тільки за минулу ніч, тільки проти Одеси було 20 шахедів. Сьогоднішній ранок чергова ракетна атака проти міста. Є поранені, є загиблі. Потрібно більше захисту. Я говорив сьогодні з прем'єр-міністром Греції Міцотакісом про те, як тут на півдні України можна посилити наших людей. Будуть перемовини із іншими державами та лідерами. Ми дуже цінуємо кожен прояв допомоги. Провів сьогодні оперативну нараду з місцевими керівниками, обласною владою, також урядовцями, щоб надали всю необхідну допомогу людям, які втратили житло від російських ударів, втратили документи. Потрібно, щоб це була достатня допомога і швидка. Я вдячний усім, хто підтримує людей зараз, кожному, хто допомагає, хто береже тут в Одесі, в усіх наших містах максимум нормального життя. Нічого Росія не має здобути своїм терором. Я дякую всім, хто б'ється заради наших людей і держави. Я дякую кожному і кожній, хто працює заради України та в Україні. Я дякую Одесі, усім, хто береже нашу Одесу, хто захищає місто, усім, хто працює в місті, забезпечує робочі місця для людей. Дякую кожному у світі, хто допомагає. Ми обов'язково вистоїмо, захистимо нормальне життя. Слава Україні! Бажаю здоров'я.
I really don't know how it keeps his, you know, he's got no other choice. Head down, got to keep his composure. It's really quite amazing that he's able to do that, though. But it's you know, it's got to be super frustrating. You know, it'll be interesting to see if there's any footage of Zelensky uncandid. It'll be very interesting because he's done a very good job of projecting this image of calm and certainty, which is probably very essential and probably gives the Ukrainian people a lot of hope. Of course, it can only go so far. All right, so our final bit of headlines here. We're going to jump over to Haiti and then China and call it a day. Must be very mentally resilient. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be very, very tough and very frustrating. You know, to have to, when you're dealing with a coward like Joe Biden, who has all the power in the world, but just doesn't know how to use it. Oh, gee. Right, and then you're dealing with an existential threat. And you see these clowns playing games with your country and your life, the lives of your people, for their fucking election. Yeah, it would make me disgusted. Make it very difficult for me to speak to people. But look, man, it's a game. It's a game, and it's a game you can lose. You can lose big time. So the pressure is immense on Zelensky. And I feel like, he's still the right man for the job. But man, if the West doesn't come through and then Trump wins, right? I hope Davey is correct. I hope whoever wins in the United States, they see Ukraine as a big win and not an opportunity to appease a dictator. Or autocrat, I guess you could say, with Putin. All right, so moving on from Ukraine here over to Haiti. Big stuff happening. It looks like Haiti is about to be completely overrun. The United States isn't going to jump in to help them. The Haitian people are, of course, caught in the middle of all this. Get an update here from Channel 4 News.
A dire situation that's rapidly spiraling out of control. Armed gangs are now in charge of around 80% of Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince.
Trailhead. When it comes to Ukraine, it's not a war of choice like Iraq and Afghanistan and Vietnam and fill in the blank. It's not a war of choice for the Ukrainians, at least. It's interesting though, because like as an anti-war leftist, as a person who agrees with you, Trailhead, that we shouldn't be proliferating war across the world. We can't allow those who would dominate us, who would exploit that pacifist desire for their own gain, and that is exactly what Putin is doing. So, if there was ever a military investment well spent, it's definitely Ukraine. But the history of the United States in military intervention speaks for itself, doesn't it? Not very good.
Embattled security forces have declared a state of emergency, but they're outgunned.
I'm aware of that trail.
Gang leader and former police officer Jimmy Barbecue Cherissier has united rival warring factions against the government.
There was an interview on Vice with him that we showed.
He now sounds like a politician himself.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Trailhead, for your opinion. So I've already had to time you out for 30 minutes for stupidity before. Why don't we just go ahead and make this official? I don't really have time for people like you. Thank you so much. If you can't acknowledge that Putin is absolutely a threat to the West, is absolutely a threat to the international order, and you're interested in defending Vladimir Putin and the Russian government and their desire for some form of who knows what the actual plan is, but especially after the invasion, right? Pre-invasion, I probably would have agreed with Trailhead. Before the Ukrainian invasion, you know who else would have agreed with Trailhead? Finland and Sweden, right? But now Finland and Sweden no longer agree with Trailhead, and I no longer agree with Trailhead. Putin has shown himself to be a direct threat to whatever we would consider stability. Now, with that said, does that mean we should throw our support over to Uncle Joe and the military-industrial complex and just, allow American exceptionalism to be the dominant opinion du jour? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The military-industrial complex of the United States does need to be challenged. With that said, it's a very complicated situation. This is absolutely very complicated because, the United States giveth with one hand and taketh with another. So we need to be nuanced in our criticism. To say something so bald-facedly stupid as Putin is not a threat to the West, really says it all, doesn't it? It says that you agree with Code Pink and you agree with Roger Waters. And I'm so disgusted with these so-called leftist institutions that are coming to support the Palestinians, but were just months ago talking about how playing games and playing games with the justification for Russia's invasion of Ukraine, right? Listening to the remarks of that how Ukrainians are Nazis, all that shit. These so-called leftists that care so much about the people of Gaza were literally months ago on their Twitter accounts talking about how both sidesing the Russian invasion. So Trailhead, thank you so much for your time. You're not welcome here. Get your mind right. Putin is absolutely a threat to the West. NATO has been made retroactively correct. Before the invasion, I would have agreed with Trailhead that NATO was a direct threat, right? That NATO was acting aggressively. But Putin went ahead and made NATO correct in its predictions about Russia. And Finland and Sweden dusted off those NATO membership forms and expedited that shit when they saw the reality. Germany reignited its military industrial complex specifically because of the Russian invasion. So gee, I don't know, maybe Trailhead needs to take a look at the whole situation, because Germany, Finland, and Sweden maybe have a better idea of the existential threat they face than you do, Trailhead. So thank you for your nonsense. Fuck off.
We want a Haiti with employment, a Haiti with security, he says, before warning that if Prime Minister Ariel Henry doesn't step down, the country will suffer a civil war. Ariel Henry, who leads an unelected, supposedly interim government, is not in the country after his plane was prevented from landing. Over the weekend, whilst he was abroad, powerful gangs launched a major assault on 2 prisons, freeing thousands of inmates.
They're just living there now?
The intensifying violence has sent residents of the capital fleeing to shelters. Many had already been displaced by years of unrest, and the country is in the midst of an ongoing humanitarian crisis.
Since the day I left my home, I've lived like an animal. Even animals aren't kept like this. When we sleep, we're crammed together.
The roots of Haiti's troubles run deep. An earthquake more than a decade ago devastated the already impoverished country. The most recent trigger for the current instability, the assassination 3 years ago of the Prime Minister Jovenel Moïse. Since then, gangs have grown increasingly powerful. Kidnappings and murders have soared, with close to 5,000 people killed last year.
Come on.
An international peacekeeping force led by Kenya was touted as a solution, but was held up by legal challenges in the African nation. Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry was there when the gangs launched this offensive.
The gangs seem to be sending a message to discourage Kenya and other contributing countries to the mission of sending security personnel to Haiti, as they are showing their ability to coordinate brutal and simultaneous
JPEG, it's
attacks.
Disgusting. And all those same organizations coming out in support of Gaza now, like they weren't just doing whataboutism for Russia's invasion.
The gangs might also be seeking to show it would be better to negotiate with them rather than confronting them.
Yeah,
there's a troubled history of foreign intervention in Haiti, but many in the country are now so desperate they'll support anything that can help restore some semblance of security.
Jesus Christ. Those kids running away from the fight. Haiti's barbecue warns of genocide. Ooh, Indian news. For real? Yes.
Now let's turn our attention to Haiti. The Caribbean nation is being overrun. Armed gangs are besieging the capital, Port-au-Prince. The police force is on the back foot. Thousands of residents are fleeing the violence. But where is the government?
Yeah.
The Prime Minister is trapped.
Dude, I thought that was her whole earlobe from the distance. I thought she had like gauges in. I thought that shit was her whole earlobe, dude.
Outside the country. His name is Ariel Henry. He tried to land in Haiti but could not. The international airport is under attack. The gangs have been targeting it. They forced Prime Minister Henry to divert his flight. He tried to land in the neighboring Dominican Republic, but he was denied permission.
Oh, damn! How are you allowed on this? My God! Bye-bye. Jeez, we haven't seen something so blatantly racist in a long time. My God. Holy shit bugs. Holy, I gotta go out of my way to report this guy. Wow, dude, that is fucking wow. All right, there we go. Jesus Christ. Boy, you know, no one these guys work so hard. I gotta say though, their work ethic is unbelievable. You know, I have never once in my entire streaming career had like a hardcore leftist come in here and be totally obnoxious about single payer health care or equality for everyone, you know, equity for everyone. Only the people, it's like the hate, something about hatred, you know? Where are the annoying leftists going channel to channels talking about how equality is really great? Whoa, Patriot. What'd I miss? How many TOS was broken in one comment? Well, he didn't say the N-word, but he got dang close.
So today he turned up in Puerto Rico and landed finally. It's utter chaos. Amid all this, an ultimatum has been issued. It comes from the spokesperson for the gangs.
If Ariel Henry doesn't step down, the country will suffer a genocide. If Ariel Henry doesn't step down, if the international community continues to support Ariel Henry, they will lead us directly into a civil war that will end in genocide.
Wow, dog.
That's Jimmy Cheridzia, better known as Barbecue. He was an elite police officer. Now he's the spokesperson for Haiti's gangs. They've joined hands, the gangs. They call themselves the Regroupement Vivre Ensemble. They're orchestrating this rampage. They've taken control of Haiti's capital. 80% of it is under their control. And now they're threatening to launch a civil war and genocide. The gangs say they have a just cause. The ouster of the unelected Prime Minister, Ariel Henry.
Yeah.
Now, Henry is both prime.
I mean, that's the crux of the problem, though, is that the governments that are being challenged by these insane people are incredibly corrupt. They're nothing, you know, and the West props them up. The best, you know, they never provide for the people. So it's like, you know, I don't side with the genocide guy. I don't side with Mr. Barbecue. But it's, you know, it's not exactly like the grievance is completely concocted and you know pulled out of thin air. No, these governments are wildly corrupt.
Minister and acting president. He took charge in 2021 after Haiti's last president was assassinated. In fact, let me rephrase that. Henry was put in charge by an international coalition. So he's not a democratically elected leader.
Yeah.
Yet he's been clinging.
And he was probably put in place to, you know, just to keep the ball rolling so you can do another election, right? Because that's, I will. We'll do an election right away. You know, 3 seconds after sitting in the chair, we're never doing an election. Never.
To power.
It's never happened.
He keeps delaying elections and extending his unelected mandate. He was supposed to step down last month, but he's extended his rule till 2025. This has bred resentment. And Barbecue and the gangs are using that to justify their actions.
Yeah.
But before you paint them as some Robin Hood figures, listen to this.
The armed gangs forced us to leave our homes. They destroyed our houses and we are on the streets.
That's such a precious picture.
I'm a motor taxi driver. I was resting. There was a burst of bullets and I was hit on the foot.
At this very moment, heavily armed bandits are storming my shop. Oh Lord, please don't let them set fire to it.
15,000 people have been displaced in the violence. That's according to the United Nations. Many of these people were already living in shelters. Now they're homeless again. Meanwhile, barbecue is not showing much remorse.
The international community, especially the United States, Canada, France, and the core group will be responsible for all the people who die in Haiti.
This guy's going to die violently. And there's no other path for an individual like this. This guy is going to have. This is going to be. I don't know. I mean, he seems pretty driven though. He doesn't seem crazed per se. He seems very focused.
He's happy to shift the blame to other nations while he makes videos with a gun in hand.
Yeah, with gun and armor.
Gun or bullet that's manufactured in Haiti. Almost all of it comes from the United States. A lot of it directly from the port of Miami.
So the U.S. is partly to blame.
So he's carrying American-made fucking weapons and shit. Ah! Look. I wish people like Trailhead had the capability for nuance here, right? Because we could have a very interesting conversation, right? The left needs to learn how to become capable of, seeing a situation like Ukraine and saying like, yeah, well, with all of my criticisms of the military-industrial complex, this is definitely, it's better to help this fledgling democracy than it is to set a precedent for, Russia to come in and just take over democracies that they feel are challenging them, and then see a situation like this, and you see, barbecue running around with U.S.-made weapons, and you're like, yeah, no, this military-industrial complex is out of control. I question whether the U.S. government really does have any direct control over this institution. As we saw with Trump, it feels comfortable disobeying the commander in chief whenever it wishes. So, if there was ever like, I don't know, we're very lucky that for some reason the military industrial complex does seem to have some fealty to this democratic system. I mean, what would happen though if that democratic system truly becomes a farce, truly becomes what Project 2025 wants to make it to be, just some rubber stamp for a right-wing autocrat? Would the military industrial complex just go right along with that?
Blame for Haiti's troubles. What are they doing to make amends? They're doing what America does best, throw money at the problem. They've pledged $200 million to set up a multinational task force, but that force has not been formed yet. Meanwhile, Haiti is crumbling as we speak, and it isn't getting nearly enough help. Look at the UN's fund for Haiti. It's received only 2.5% of the required donations. Neighboring nations are also turning their backs on Haiti. Let me show you a map of the country.
Man, she's great.
Haiti is on the island
she's not giving him an inch.
Hispaniola. It shares the island with the Dominican Republic. And this neighbor is being of no help. They wash their hands of the matter, even refuse to let the Haitian Prime Minister land in their country. Dominican Republic is fortifying its border with Haiti. They do not want refugees.
We will never accept refugee camps in our country. That is out of question.
What about helping
Haiti
people?
was once called the jewel of the Antilles. But now that jewel has lost its luster. The world has lost interest, and it has been abandoned.
Wow, man. She's great. She's great. Who is this? Palki Sharma? She's awesome. First post? Yeah, give me some more of Velki. Or Palki. Palki Sharma. Hell yeah. She was great. Wow, what a journalist. I could feel her disdain dripping out of every word. It was great. her disappointment at the international community and the leaders of all the countries, the whole situation. She was absolutely disgusted. And I feel ashamed. I was like, man, I'm a disappointed mom. It's not good, dude. I'm getting chewed out by mom over here. Yeah. She nails that, dude. She's great. Because, you know, it should be less Wolf Blitzer, just, you know, coldly, robotically reading, 10,000 people died in Gaza today. Israel was defending itself, and it was really quite a situation. Let's go over to this Pentagon spokesperson to tell us what we should think. What should we think, Pentagon spokesperson? So moving on to our final story of the day. China. This is how China's Coast Guard is trying to intimidate the South China Sea. So this is interesting. We're seeing a lot of, you know, more, you know, antagonism. I mean, it really, you know, everyone points to Russia when talking about Chinese aggression. And you know, I don't know, you know, how much Russia, you know, how, you know, is China really looking at Russia and saying, oh, well, they can get away with this and they can get away with that. And maybe we can get away with this and maybe we can get away with that. I'm not sure how much of that is really there, but every analyst you see points to, you know, Russia like, well, you know, Russia's going to set a precedent that other countries are going to follow. And they're always talking about China. So you know, I don't know how much of this has to do with Russia, or how much of this would have been happening if the Ukrainian invasion didn't happen. I don't think this problem is going to be going away, though. And what we need are real politicians who are actually capable of real statescraft. And maybe we should drop the Intimidation Act. Quite honestly, it could be a good opportunity for the United States to help bail China out. Wouldn't that be ironic? You know, how long, honestly, are they really, with their command and conquer style fucking economy, are going to be able to hide the trillions and trillions of dollars that they're, you know, that the real estate market has poof dissolved into thin air? You know, like this might be an opportunity for the West to you know, to extend a helping hand over to China. I wonder, though, is there, you know, any economic experts here in the chat? Welcome back, John Axel. I know China has a shit ton of U.S. debt. Is there anything they can do with that U.S. debt that could bail out their economy, like sell the U.S. debt or something like that? That could help. That, you know, like I'm just worried about some kind of like emergency situation where they're like, okay, well, cut the bullshit. We actually have to do something substantive here. And you know, I mean, I think it's trillions of dollars. I think China has trillions of dollars of U.S. debt. I have heard analysts talk about how that could, you know, that is a weapon in and of itself, an economic weapon, that if China were to do something drastic with that amount of debt, they could actually affect our economy. Yeah, so it's official, dude. Celebrate, dude. They signed the papers. Turkey got out of the way. Pop them bottles, boys. No more worry about a Russian invasion. You're good to go, man. Pop them bottles. Go have some fun with your incredibly gorgeous women in your country. Bastard.
Welcome back, everyone. Coast Guard vessels from China and the Philippines collided in the disputed waters of the South China Sea on Tuesday. The Philippines has accused China of executing dangerous maneuvers, while China claims it took control measures against the Philippines vessel. Ivan Watson went aboard a Philippine Coast Guard ship in the South China Sea and has this report.
It is just after sunrise, and as you may see, there is a large Chinese Coast Guard ship directly in front of this Philippines Coast Guard vessel. And we've been watching this over the course of the last hour. These are supposed to be international waterways with free passage. I'm aboard this Philippines Coast Guard ship that was part of a convoy of 4 vessels that were headed towards a place called the Second Thomas Shoal. And before dawn, all of a sudden, these Philippine ships were swarmed by much larger, and many more Chinese ships. There are more off to our port bow.
This is so weird. This is like a form of colonialism on the ocean, dude. This is so crazy.
These are not marked like the Chinese Coast Guard ships, but they're clearly operating with them and operating in very close proximity to this Philippines Coast Guard ship. In fact, I've seen
So this is how the ramming incidents happen. If you follow the news, you that would ring a few bells, right? Vessels, China, vessel running into a Chinese vessel in the Chinese Sea, yada yada. You would have heard headlines about that. So that's how this happens. With people are like, no, these are international waters. I'm allowed to be here. China over here trying to enforce its own blockade so that it could claim ownership over these oceans. Wow, man. I mean, just a direct. I mean, to be fair though, the United States doesn't exactly do shit like this, but it's not unknown for the United States to do shit kind of like this.
Them in the past cutting this off, and what they've succeeded in doing is not only pretty much stopping our ship in its tracks, but it has separated this ship from the other boats in the Philippines convoy, which included 2 small resupply vessels that were trying to get to the.
Does China really want to fight a war over this shit though? I mean, like, say you're like 6 months into the war, and it's really starting to, to affect the to get back to the Chinese society, right? The people are really starting to feel it. And they're like, wait, what are we doing this for? For a couple miles of open ocean?
Second Thomas Shoal.
Now, we just did something like this recently, Davey. We just claimed a chunk of land. We just claimed we just claimed a chunk of ocean floor just recently. Just a couple weeks ago, Davey. We just said all this ocean chunk is now the United States.
Now, part of what is at play
have to find the article.
Is a territorial dispute.
I talked about it. I reported on it.
The Philippines claims is part of its economic exclusion zone. China, though it is much further geographically
it's not resources,
from this
geopolitics.
area, claims it for itself and clearly tries to stop Philippine ships from getting to it. We're completely encircled by a fleet of Chinese ships, at least 14 that I've counted. And moments ago, the Chinese Coast Guard ships were blasting a Philippines resupply vessel with water cannons.
Yeah,
it is
continental
clearly,
shelf, U.S. expands
by
territory.
This ship, a show of force and a show of intimidation, and it is physically stopping vessels from another country from being able to move forward through this international waterway.
Yeah.
Ivan Watson, CNN, aboard a Philippines Coast Guard ship
bullying Kemp
in the South China Sea.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so Woke Patriot with another version of the same story here. But no, the United States literally just kind of pulled a fast one a little bit. No one really gave a shit. December 19, 2023, the United States announced for the first time the outer limits of its extended continental shelf, ECS, the portion of the continental shelf beyond 200 nautical miles from the coast. The United States is a major maritime nation with the largest exclusive economic zone in the world, and this historic step helps protect its sovereign rights to vast additional subsea areas. It's also an important milestone reflecting U.S. engagement with the law of the sea as reflected in the UN Convention of the Law of the Sea. So yada, yada, yada. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's okay for China to be doing this, but I'm just saying, that once again, the hypocrisy is on full display. I don't want a world run by China. I don't want to be run by the Chinese empire, but I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for the United States and the military industrial complex. I mean, hell, let's be real. The military industrial complex is using Ukraine as a cynical ploy to refresh its own arms. That's the extent of our donations. We haven't really gone all in Ukraine. Little packages here and there. Oh, we got a warehouse of old shells. Send them on over. Oh, here comes Davey with the excuses. It's not clarifying, buddy. They increased it. They increased it, dude. Yeah, Kim Goblin. Well, you and a team. Yeah, a Democratic team. Look, U.S. claims huge chunk of seabed. It's not a correction. It's not a correction. That no, Kim Goblin, no. No kings, no gods. U.S. claims huge chunk of seabed. Here's another one from Bloomberg. I think Hot Dog there wanted the link. There's another one from Bloomberg. So it's cool for the United States to do it. It's cool for the United States to do it, but it's not cool for China to do it. And it's like, no, it's actually not cool for anybody to do it. Davey, they don't need to. They're all using the dollar. But what if they didn't want to? Reed Strayer? Hi. I think I would read into it before generating a firm opinion. Thanks for the link. Yeah, of course. U.S. quietly adds area nearly twice the size of Spain. No biggie, guys. No biggie. The point that I'm trying to make. Thank you for the follow, Reznov. The point that I'm trying to make, though, is that the United States is hypocritical in its actions all too often. All too often, there are ulterior motives. Davey, unfortunately, believes in American exceptionalism. I don't know if Davey is still listening to the IDF without criticism, without question. Hopefully, you've reversed that POV by now. Remember how you said that, 3 weeks ago? 3 or 4 weeks ago, that you take statements from the IDF at face value. China is attacking who travel into those areas. The U.S. isn't. For now, because no one's challenging the United States. If any upstart were if Venezuelan ships were out there against the United States permission, do you think the United States would be like, well, we didn't really mean it? I mean, it's just we're just correcting some paperwork. I mean, we're not going to do anything about it. Come on, man. Come on, man. You're carrying so much water for the American empire, bro. You got to stop. Because things will never get better unless we criticize the military-industrial complex. The United States won't get stronger. The military won't get stronger. The military will continue to grow out of control, to continue to waste our money. And that's something you care about quite a bit, Davey. You care about government waste in the military. If we are not allowed to push back, if we're not allowed to criticize, if we're not allowed, if everything has a justified excuse, if every expansion and hypocrisy has some kind of excuse, if nobody is held accountable, if the institution itself is not held accountable, it will grow out of control. And that's what we're seeing. So I don't think we should carry water for the military-industrial complex. I think it's fair to point out that the U.S. is adding the entire country of Spain to its territory, but China is not able to do the same thing. We should have a conversation about how the United States shouldn't be able to just do that, or there should be some challenge, or everyone should be able to share it. Can't just take a portion of the fucking ocean floor. Now, with that said, though, if you look at the map, it is an area surrounding existing territories, right? I mean, this is the purple area right here. That, Davey, that is a good point. Yeah, no, China is using it as a tool of colonialism against countries that have claimed it already. That's a great point. So, I mean, this makes sense. The Bering Sea one over here. You can't really see my mouse. Sorry, let me see if I can. There's my mouse. Okay, there you go. So the Bering Sea one makes sense. This big old chunk. So this, I guess, maybe. I don't know about this. This seems, this right here, this makes some sense. Gulf of Mexico, like these little purple areas. Why this? This little circle? This little circle here? No. So Davey, I will accept your points. I still think you're making excuses and justification here. Like, so we can't have any criticism of what's happening up here in the Atlantic Ocean? Secret underwater biolab? What about here in the Atlantic Ocean? What the hell's up with this? This is just, you're just taking shit, dude. You're just taking shit. And would the U.S. have a problem if Venezuela did this shit? So say there's some open, unclaimed chunk. Venezuela just takes it? Iran just takes a chunk of the ocean? You think the United States is going to be cool with all this? Yeah, Tisrael, is that it? All right. I'm just saying, I think my point has been made. I think my point has been made that oftentimes the United States, when it's acting in its own self-interests, and that often includes acting against the self-interests of other countries. And I don't... There's a lot of American exceptionalists that are like, well, it's worked so far. This is just how it's going to be. And I'm disappointed with that, because it's like, really, we can't have a strong American empire without all the hypocrisy. We can't be held accountable for our crimes. Surely that's not sustainable. We can't make a global order of do what we say our way or the highway. We can't make a whole global order out of our way or the highway. The American exceptionalists would say, yes, we can. Americans can do it. We have the right way to do that. We're going to force everybody to work with us, but everyone's going to love it. Yeah, Tisrael, I know. It seems very specific. Yeah, Chem Goblin, just take a chunk of the ocean. Let's see. Just enter, no one took it. Just take it. It's yours. It's maritime law. Uncle Sam won't have a problem with it, dude. Because you just do what I just be like, well, you did it. And they'll be like, oh, shit. And then they'll float away. Oh, he's right, boys. Look at this. You show them an article on your phone. You're sitting there floating in a boat. This is my part of the ocean. Look, you did it too. You're just floating there. They're like, oh, fuck, he's got us. Shit. All right, you two kids, quit fighting. Quit fighting in the chat. Scream at me. Scream at me, all right? I'm the guy on screen. Yell at me. Don't yell at each other, kids. I want you to hug each other. Someone's got to make an expedition out there. This is actually just ocean floor. Going to be some secret underwater base. I think it's just. I mean, thank you, but Borderline Feline. There's the Discord, by the way. Thank you, all your lurkers. Hot Dog, you're a new member. If you like the News Underground, the realest motherfucking news channel on Twitch, make sure you check out the Discord. You're welcome to contribute to the show right there. Folks, I want to remind you of my 3-step program to create political change. The 3-step program, the easy as pie 3-step program to become a political activist. Step 1, inform yourself. Step 2, join a political organization, hopefully progressive, maybe a union, run for office, donate, put your name down. Step 3, put in the work. Step 3, you got to ask yourself, thank you, woke patriot, scream at me. Look, the fact of the matter is, anytime major social change has been created, it has been created with political activism, with nonviolent, direct political activism. Of course, I'm talking about in the framework of a democracy. once that framework of democracy is removed, the three-step program goes out the window because now we're dealing with an authoritarian nightmare. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. Glory to the Ukrainian democracy that will make it through. Hope you enjoyed today's headlines. Miles plays chess. I remember you. Thank you all to all you lurkers, Woke Patriot, Chem Goblin, Tisriel, Borderline Feline, Zeo Duke. I don't even think Zeo Duke was here, but I'm giving you props. Davey, big props to Davey, Ribbons, Strategy Member. Hot Dog JPEG, new viewer, Hot Dog JPEG. Thank you, Hot Dog JPEG. Anybody else? We got John Axel in the house. Dari Arts, Estonian, can't say that second part. Don't know how to speak. Thank you, Estonian. Davin, your boy Davin. Clutch Cargo in this motherfucker. You're tubing. You guys are awesome. Look at all these awesome people. Best chat on Twitch. Leon, your boy Leon up in this motherfucker. Lizards Lounge up in this motherfucker. Best chat on Twitch, except for Lenny. Lenny up in this motherfucker. Lenny's chat is better. Davey is wrong. Davey is there's more than you can actually make peace without intimidation, Davey. It's actually possible. Peace only can be created from a gun. Patton should have run for president. Yeah, Tisriel, if Zelensky tries to hold on to power after the war is over, it'll be within the first ones to come out of the street against that. Democracy must live. Tisriel, 100%. And I do not think Zelensky would do that. I do not think so. Nikki Haley's in the chat too. She had nothing better to do now. Oh! No, she's still playing games with Donald Trump. She's got to figure out the right way to suck Donald Trump's toes. I said toes. All right, everybody, you're awesome. Thank you for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. News Underground, motherfucker. Abandoned Nihilism. The Harbinger. Get it. DJ Ripperman. Decomposition. Borderline Feline. Big props. Borderline Feline. Thank you, Borderline Feline.